dear aspirants, lately I've been getting a lot of calls from candidates who have cleared their written exam, especially the AFCAT exam. They want to know as to what is the marking process, as also they want to know what must they do that they could come in the final merit. Well, for entries which has a written exam like the NDA, the CDS and the AFCAT, the weightage of written and the SSB is 50-50. So therefore, if for some reason you have not been able to do very well in your written, you'll have to work that much harder so that you are able to compensate by doing better in your SSB and finally make it in the final merit. However, I would like to caution you here that the gap between the candidate who has done very well in the SSB and the candidate who has just managed to scrape through, the gap may not be more than 35 to 40 marks. So therefore, in the written, if the gap is very large, it will be very difficult for you to go ahead of that person in the merit. However, the average difference between a person who has done very well and not done too well in the written exam may not be much, and therefore if you work very hard and do better in the SSB than those people, you will be able to cross them and come into the merit. So usually it is considered that for NDA something in the range of 400 and for AFCAT something in the range of 190 to 200 marks will be sufficient in the written to see you through in the merit. However, if for some reason you have not got very good marks, let's say the cutoff for the AFCAT was 153 and you got around 160, so naturally you will have to work hard and do very well in your SSB so that you are able to cross over those candidates who have in an average got marks in the range of 170 to 180. So that would be possible for you if you work hard to cross them over and come into the merit. Now, next thing that I would like to highlight is that those entries where there is no written exam, like for example the TES entry or the TGC entry, the entire weightage is based on the SSB performance. No other academic marks or any other performance is taken into account. So when you go for your SSB, you should be aware that to come in the merit of those entries where there is no written exam, you will have to perform very well so that you're able to do better than others and come in the merit of such entries. Now, let us quickly understand the process of marking in the SSB. Now, you got to be aware that personality cannot be mathematically evaluated. So, to say that there are no marks for individual tasks, let's say for your GD or your lecturate or your TAT or WAT in psych, and similarly for the interview, there are no marks for any of those activities. You are being rated at a scale of 1 to 10 for certain qualities which are called the officer-like qualities. So while you perform through these tasks, or when you write the psych dossier, or when the interviewing officer is observing you during the conduct of the interview, he's actually looking at your personality attributes, and based on the kind of personality that you exhibit, he's going to rate you at a scale of 1 to 10 for all those 15 OLQs. And finally, he prepares an overall profile for the candidate, which each of the assessors does. Like for example, the GTO would have made it, the psych would make it, as also the interviewing officer. They prepare a final personality profile of the candidate based on his or her performance, and that personality profile is made in terms of ratings on these OLQs. So you're rated at a scale of 1 to 10, and these ratings are then fed into a table which has been prepared by the Defense Institute of Psychological Research. The scientists have prepared a table. Now, when you feed in these ratings of OLQs into that table, correspondingly certain marks will emerge. This is like you do it for your calculus, that you feed an input and corresponding input shows you the total marks that the person has got. So therefore, if you would have done well, during the SSB, it will be in terms of exhibiting better personality attributes. So let's say if a person's power of expression is good, if the person is socially very adaptable and adjustable, the person is showing great self-confidence and drive and determination, naturally the personality attributes seen by the assessors will be rated at a higher scale, and therefore the corresponding marks that he will get will also be higher. So don't get carried away by individual tasks or tests during the SSB. You have to simply perform well over there in terms of exhibiting a personality which is acceptable to the armed forces. Now, the preparation for which is not really writing or practicing stories and writing sentences, or preparing just for the mock interview. How you could prepare for this is by understanding what are those areas of your personality that need further polishing, further grooming. You identify those areas and work very hard on those areas so that you're able to perform better, because each of those personality attributes are interlinked. Let's say if a person has a low awareness level or his expression is not so good, he will invariably be inhibited in a group. So his social attributes will be seen as a person who's not very outgoing, and similarly he will not be able to take up initiative, and he will not be able to show confidence in his own abilities. The kind of impact that he'll create on other people will not be so good. So every personality attribute is interconnected. So therefore, identify those attributes which are not so good, work on those, and you'll be able to perform better. Now, what I've seen during the course of my interactive sessions here that I keep conducting every day is that a lot of candidates are carrying so many preconceived ideas that when they write their psych dossier, they tend to project someone else that they're actually not. So during the course of this interactive session, I've been able to highlight to many of them that their original thought process was much better. Whereas since they've kind of practiced too hard and they've gone and searched for inputs from everywhere, from previously recommended candidates, from here and there, from SSB books, now what has happened is that their mind is cluttered up with information which is not really projecting them in good light. So therefore, how to approach various tests in the psych dossier, it is very, very important for you to understand. If you inappropriately approach those, you may naturally project someone else's personality and not yours, and that is what leads to a person not being taken or recommended by the assessor, because he is unable to see the real you. Your values and beliefs are somewhere obscured by the inputs that you've gathered from the environment. So it is very important for such candidates who have been merit out or who are not able to figure out what is going wrong with them to take professional help and find out, if you cannot find it out yourself, as to what is going wrong, work on those areas, improve on those areas, so that next time you're easily able to sail through the SSB as also come into the merit. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Thank you so much.